Bonjour, je m'appelle Sarah Moore et bienvenue au Québec pour un autre test de vélo Pinkbike. Cette fois-ci, nous avons 6 nouveaux vélos avec nous.
Ralentise. Come on.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Sarah Moore et bienvenue au Québec pour un autre test de vélo Pinkbike. Cette fois-ci, nous avons 6 nouveaux vélos avec nous.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Mike Levy. We're back for another field test, and this time we're in Quebec reviewing 6 new short travel bikes. Sarah, how the heck do you say downcountry in French?
Isn't that just a made-up word? I don't think it translates.
Ralentise, Sarah, ralentise.
Anyways, we've got some pretty interesting bikes this time around, so let's take a look at them. There are many different ways to do short travel, but let's start with the light and fast approach first.
Now that's probably a great way to describe this speed machine. This is Allied's first mountain bike, the 120mm travel BC40. Now this is made in the States, Sarah. This 1900 gram frame is manufactured in Allied's Arkansas factory. For suspension, it's using a flex pivot at the rear end to save weight, as well as an aluminum linkage, also machined in-house in Arkansas, that adds a bit of lateral rigidity to the frame and also gives them the kinematics they are looking for. Now Sarah, you remember how I said this frame was made in the US? This is not an inexpensive bicycle. As you see it here, with an Axis drivetrain, carbon i9 wheels, and Fox suspension, you're looking at a $10,755 USD price tag. But this is not the only US made bike that we have.
This one here is also light, fast, and expensive. This is Ibis's new XE. It has 100mm of rear travel that's controlled by a DW link, so that should mean it's a pretty efficient climber. It's got a 120mm fork, which should make it a little bit more capable on the downhills than a lot of cross-country bikes. Now, we've got some bikes that are a little less expensive here, but the Ibis XE is not one of them.
Definitely not one of them.
So with our mechanical X01 build, carbon wheels, the XE will set you back $10,048 US.
All right, how about something a little more en français, Sarah?
Oh, what could that be?
It's been a long time since we've had a Lapierre in for testing, and this one is the XRM 8.9. Lapierre says it's the fastest and lightest marathon cross-country bike that they've ever made. Now to do that, it uses a flex pivot at the rear end, as well as a compact aluminum linkage to compress the shock and help control the kinematics. Our XRM 8.9 test bike comes with an XT drivetrain, aluminum DT Swiss wheels, and Fox suspension. Now Sarah, you can't get this bike in the States, but that adds up to €5,200.
For our next bike, let's go from France to Switzerland with this beautiful sparkly green BMC 4-stroke LT.
Gorgeous.
Now, I know looks are subjective, but if you don't think this thing looks great, I think you need to get your eyes checked. It's got a dual link suspension design, really tidy looking, and for those of you with a finish line sprint in your future, you'll be happy to know that there's a remote lockout on the handlebar that controls both the fork and the rear suspension. Now, BMC does a lot of interesting things, including on this bike, there's actually an integrated dropper post that gives you 80mm of drop. With the Axis drivetrain that our test bike comes with, it'll set you back $8,999 US.
All right, Sarah, let's go look at something a whole lot stealthier and a little bit stouter. This is Evil's Following. That's right, we finally have an Evil at the field test. If you ride rowdier trails, but you're looking to do that on a short travel bike, Sarah, this 120mm travel Following might be just the ticket. Now, unlike some of those things with flex pivots and carbon frames that have been shaved within grams of their life, well, that's not the story here. This uses a single pivot suspension design with a linkage activated system to deliver that travel. Up front, there's a 130mm fork and a set of carbon wheels, as well as an X01 mechanical drivetrain. Now, all that adds up to $9,050 American, which is a heck of a lot of money, Sarah.
That's true. We've got some pretty pricey bikes here this time around, which is why we also do a value bikes field test. But we wanted to include something a little more realistic this time around here as well, which is why we've got RSD's black bike. RSD is a Canadian company, and the Wildcat V3 will set you back $3,999 US, which is actually less than a lot of the frames we have here on test. But you know what? RSD is still doing some interesting things with that price. They've got adjustable dropouts, so you can run either a 29er or a 27.5 rear wheel, and they've got DVO suspension front and rear. What RSD is doing with the Wildcat is a lot more similar to what Evil's doing with the Following than what the other 4 cross-country bikes are doing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they compare out on the trails.
Well, the last field test was all about enduro bikes and rowdy trails. Matt Beer, Sarah Moore, and I have been riding these on, well, more downcountry appropriate terrain, whatever the heck that means.
It means a whole lot more pedaling on some fast rolling terrain, but with enough rocks and roots to make sure that Levy still has to worry about crashing. We've been riding these bikes at 5 locations around Quebec City, including the Massif de Charlevoix, Mont-Saint-Anne, Empire 47, Vallée-Bras-du-Nord, and Sentier-du-Moulin.
Now, I know that sounds like a lot of fun, and it definitely is, but we've also been timing our laps because, well, our legs get tired, but the clock never does. And these bikes, they have to be good on the ups and the downs.
Just like most of the field tests that we do, we've installed control tires on all of these bikes. This time around, it's specialized ground control tires.
And if this is your first field test, you should know that there's a whole bunch more videos on the go aside from the reviews. Like all the other field tests, I'm gonna be pedaling up a fire road way too many times for the efficiency test.
And we've also got the impossible climb, and even though these are short travel bikes, that doesn't mean that they don't have to do the huck to flat. Luckily, we got Matt Beer doing both the climbing and the hucking.
My ankles hurt just thinking about it. But just like that, welcome to another field test, this time in Quebec and supported by Sweet Protection. Make sure you like, subscribe, update your RSS feed, all of that stuff so you don't miss any videos.